That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.
So when you saw this in the title card, or the thumbnail for the video, you probably thought I, as a Green Lantern fan that started picking up the book when started picking up the characters' books because of John's run, you might think, oh, well, of course he'll hate that. So maybe it would seem obvious what I'm going to say about the book. But it is not. This needs to be reprinted again. We are in desperate need of this in the Green Lantern community for people reading the Green Lantern stuff. Because everything that Johns does is dependent on Emerald Twilight. And while I understand why people didn't like the events of Emerald Twilight, while I understand that they found it an insult to the character of Hal Jordan, I agree. If that had been where he was left, which, I mean, for a long time he was, that would be incredibly problematic. But, importantly, it was not, and we've moved on from this, and Hal Jordan has gone on to be bigger and better because of it. Now we need to go back to this with fresh eyes and really see how it did on its own. And so if you put away feelings about Hal Jordan can't be portrayed in that manner, this is damn good. If you're just willing to accept that you can portray Hal Jordan as breaking, as giving up hope and succumbing to fear, this really works. I'll just read the what I don't know what you'd call this, the foreword, I suppose. Hal Jordan, Green Lantern. And there came an emerald dawn. Hal Jordan was born and raised in Coast City. There he worked as a test pilot, met his girlfriend, his parents were buried there. When a dying alien gave Hal a power ring, he became part of the Green Lantern Corps, created by the Guardians of the Universe. Coast City had Green Lantern, just as Metropolis had Superman and Gotham City had Batman. Hal was the best, always following orders, and he often led the Corps in his interplanetary quest to combat evil, even against Sinestro, a rogue Green Lantern. Sometimes Hal disagreed with the Guardians, but he always believed they had the greater good in mind. But there is a limit beyond which no man can be pushed. An alien conqueror named Mongol mercilessly destroyed Coast City and its 7 million inhabitants. Hal defeated Mongol, but that could not bring back Coast City. That could not bring back the place where Hal Jordan had lived and worked and loved. And there came an Emerald Twilight. I know people hate this, but that's a really powerful moment. This all has really powerful stuff. I love the narration more than anything else. Like the situation, the plot of it works really well, but the narration is what gets me. This is Hal Jordan. He's a Green Lantern. Maybe the best Green Lantern. This is a hole in the ground. It's 12 miles in diameter, roughly. It's a very big hole, but not even close to the size of the hole in Hal Jordan's life. Not by far. You see, this hole used to be Coast City, home to a great deal Hal Jordan held dear. This is the place Hal Jordan grew up, where he worshipped at the shrine called Father, where he first knew love. This was the place he started to become the man he is. But that's all gone now. expunged by a madman's dream of conquest. And all that's left is, well, a hole. Some time ago, a man dropped from the stars. He was dying. His last act was to bequeath Hal Jordan a wondrous ring. The power of the ring knows few strictures. Truly it is bounded only by the will of the bearer. With such a ring, you could do anything. If you wanted to badly enough. And so Hal recreates Coast City from the ground up, all in construct. It would be tempting, wouldn't it? All it would take really is the will. Oh, certainly every last vestige of willpower that could be summoned. But it would be tempting. Think of it. The power to resurrect that which no longer exists, or create that which can only exist in the mind's eye. All of it perfect in every detail. The power to make the dead live again, to redress any wrong, to rewrite history with a happy ending. The power to be a god. And as Hal finally gets to interact with his father again and gets to, see the people of Coast City again as he begins to heal, it's all taken away from him. And the Guardians tell him that he's overreached his bounds and has used the ring for selfish purposes. And that he's got to go to Oa for disciplinary action. Discussion was not invited. Surrender your ring 2814 and prepare for transport to Oa. I want more power, Hal says as he punches the Guardian's construct in the face. And I can get some by drawing it from your projection. I'll come back to Oa all right. But you're not going to like me when I get there. Some time ago a man dropped from the stars. He was dying. His last act was to bequeath Hal Jordan a wondrous ring. The power of the ring knows few strictures. Truly it is bounded only by the will of the bearer. With such a ring you could do anything, if you wanted to badly enough. And then Hal begins his journey to Oa and decimates Green Lanterns all along the way. Cuts off Boudica's arm, gets more and more brutal every step of the way, until he's confronted by Sinestro on Oa. And he's able to defeat Sinestro barehanded, basically. Snaps the dude's neck. And then goes and claims the power battery on Oa, the central battery, for himself. And it's seriously, the stuff in Coast City in the first issue is just so good to me that I buy it. If you lost everything in an instant and there was nothing you could do to stop it, nothing you could do to bring it back or save it, how wouldn't you lose yourself in that? And everything... You honestly believed everything you needed to make it better was right there in the palm of your hand, literally? That's really, really impactful for me. We've all experienced a loss that we wish we could take back somehow. We've all lost something and we wish we just had the ability to make that go away and to bring that part of ourselves back into our life, whether it's, a loved one dying or a missed opportunity. And to see something that devastating happen to Hal Jordan, and for him to to break under that pressure and really lose himself in the power. I really sympathize with him. I think it is one of certainly the most disturbing, but one of the most complicated and intriguing stories we've ever done with the character. As he becomes Parallax. And that all goes into 0 Hour, which I will be finally reviewing. And we also get the Kyle Rayner origin set up here. 9 Inch Nails shirt. Yeah. I don't know, I really, really like this story. I understand that people were upset by it. And if that had been where Hal Jordan was left, I would agree. But we got so much good out of it, and it's so well done on its own, I can't hold it against it. Everyone in the world hates this book because it's this huge insult to the character, and it's considered one of the worst moments in the DC universe. I disagree. I think it is amazingly well written. Admittedly, it didn't have much foresight, but it's comic books. Someone will always pick up a thread and find a way to make it work. And that's what happened here. And I really love this story. I mean, it's that thick. So this is gonna sound weird. My only complaint: this should have been the cover they went with Hal holding all the different rings on both hands. I like that cover a lot more than this one. Though, I don't know, the face is a little weird. Yeah. Yeah. So take it however you would like. If you're thinking about getting into Green Lantern, Tires and the Alan Moore stuff, Secret Origin, Emerald Twilight, because it is important. It builds into everything else that happens in John's run. I cannot, in good conscience, tell someone who really wants to get into and understand the character not to read that.
That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.